Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Grace Holland. A 22-year-old man is charged with kidnapping and raping a 12-year-old girl after a traffic stop in Wake County. The victim's family says they met in an online gaming app. WRAL's Chelsea Donovan joins us to break down what we learned in court about this case. Chelsea, thanks for being here.
Sure. Happy to be here.
So how did WRAL first hear about this case?
So this was actually a case where we heard about from the family directly. They let us know that this was a crime that they had said had taken place, and then we confirmed that through Wake County investigators on Sunday afternoon.
And where was Preston Baker arrested?
So he was arrested on Saturday afternoon on I-40 near Jones Sausage Road, and this was after authorities in neighboring Johnson County sent out a bolo, or be on the lookout, and that's because the family of this 12-year-old girl had called 911 after she didn't show up. She had said she was going to be at a sleepover, and so they called police to kind of start that initial investigation.
And in our conversations with the family, both when they first reached out to WRAL and conversations you've had, what is their side about what happened here?
So the family's been very forthcoming, admitting that the 12-year-old girl and Baker had met on Discord, which is a gaming app. And I guess through that communication, they were exchanging nude photographs. And so according to the family, it was said that Baker was threatening to send these nude photographs to other people if the 12-year-old girl didn't meet with him. And so apparently she had said she was going to meet with him, told her family that she was going to go to a sleepover. But then he did arrive sort of in her neighborhood, not in front of her home, to pick her up. And that is when we've learned that he took her close to 3 hours away down to the coast in Carteret County.
Okay. And from there, they came back to the area, and that's where this arrest was made?
So through the investigation, the family initially called Durham police, and they, kind of just took it as a missing person's case and a runaway. But the family was actually tracking the girl on Life 360, which is a tracking app. Some of the times it was off, though, and then it would come back on. And so they were able to kind of help authorities with her location. What really was the kind of solve the piece of the puzzle was the fact that she called 911 while she was in the car, and it was then that it alerted authorities to her location as they were on their way back from the beach, and that's when they made that traffic stop Saturday afternoon on I-40.
Right, and that call, she did that over text, right?
Yeah, she texted 911 from her phone, which obviously was kind of a new safety tip that we all learned, court, that you can do that and start having a conversation with, 911 that helped lead them to her location. And
so how did this play out in court? What arguments did we hear the defendant in this case make?
So the defendant admitted, according to authorities, to sexually assaulting her, but they didn't go into any of the other allegations regarding kidnapping. However, his attorney said he was under the assumption that the 12-year-old was actually 19 and she was posing as a 19-year-old ECU student trying to get her teaching degree. And so he was not aware of the fact that she was a seventh grader. The attorney also stated in court that they had been in a relationship and that his family had even met her over the Easter holiday. So they sort of said, while the charges obviously on its face look like this, the attorney had said that this was not a random act of violence.
Let's take a quick break right there, and we'll be right back. Chelsea, before the break, you were explaining to us what the defendant's case that he made in court. How is the 12-year-old victim's family reacting to those arguments?
So they don't obviously agree with that. They're in agreement that the fact that they met on the app, but they said there is no way that she would be mistaken for a 19-year-old girl. So they heavily disputed that. As did the judge. The judge said, by the looks of her, you would, obviously know that she was not a teenager, but a 12-year-old girl who's only in seventh grade. So it was definitely very jarring for him, for the family rather, to hear those allegations from the attorney.
And what are the next steps in this case, and what did the judge decide on Monday?
So the judge has, obviously raised his bond to $1.5 million. And if he were to get out, that would mean that he would have no contact with the victim. Obviously, these are pretty egregious crimes when you're talking about kidnapping and statutory sex offense, which would be rape of someone under the age of 13. It was years ago decided by the legislature that holds the same charge as murder. So, if he were to be convicted of that, it would be, life in prison without parole. So these are very serious charges that are lodged against him.
And what did you learn from the Wake County District Attorney's Office about these types of crimes? I mean, you talked there about the potential punishment that he could face, but just how often are they prosecuted, and how often do these cases come up?
So this is, obviously with TikTok and social media and all the different things, this is just something that has surged in the type of cases that they've done, just because there's so much social media out there, and people nowadays that normally would groom, children as a predator, they're just hiding behind a keystroke. So anybody can kind of be anonymous, and it's much easier to commit, according to the district attorney that I talked to today. And it's just becoming too common. And, a message that they have is, really just try to put those safeguards in place to have that monitoring software on your child's computer or phone, and have that open dialogue so you really know who your children are talking to.
Yeah. And are there any other safety tips that you learn that parents can take in situations like this, or to prevent this from happening in the first place?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of free monitoring software that we talked about today that really monitor each keystroke on your child's phone or computer, and that's free stuff that you can download. Really easy to get access to, that really, every parent should be a part of.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Chelsea. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. It's a daily email that's waiting in your inbox every morning with local news, events, and headlines to get you ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.